A service rig is a large truck which has an oil rig derrick attached to it. When the service rig must drive, the derrick lays horizontally on the top of the truck, which also acts as a carrying device for the weight of the derrick. When a service rig is to work on an oil well, the derrick is carefully raised by using the onboard hydraulic cylinder, which extends to lift the derrick into a vertical position. Once the derrick is in the vertical position, the rig floor can be unfolded and suspended by chains which are mounted to the tubing board in the derrick. One day, a service rig drove onto a well site that had a row of 5 pump jacks. The rig crew consists of 5 workers wearing hard hats, gray coveralls with yellow reflective stripes, and work boots. The service rig parked very close to one of the pump jacks with the help of the rig crew, who used measuring tapes to make sure the service rig was parked just right. Their goal was to fix the artificial lift components of the pump jack and the oil well to which the pump jack was attached. The service rig crew then used the hydraulic controls on the rig to activate the large hydraulic cylinder, which caused the derrick to slowly unfold to a vertical position. The rig crew then used wire ropes and chains to make sure that the derrick wouldn't fall over in the wind, because it was standing upright like a tower now. Then pump truck hose was attached to the tubing flange spool on the wellhead with a 2-inch hammer union connection. The pump truck pressure tested the oil well by filling it up with fluid, then pressurizing the fluid inside of the oil well. The rig crew watched the gauge to see what the pressure reading was doing. The pressure test failed, and then everyone began to plan for how to fix the pressure leak inside of the oil well. The rig crew made a plan, and that plan was to use the service rig hoisting mechanism to pull joints of tubing from the oil well and find where the leak is coming from. The workers prepare themselves for the task ahead of them. Before the rig crew starts working, they gain energy by eating snacks and drinking coffee. The service rig hoisting mechanism is a block and tackle pulley system, which is configured using 4 to 8 lines of steel rope for the traveling block and is actuated by a power takeoff system from the driving motor, which can be controlled by an air-powered clutch to cause a large drum to either draw in or pay out a 1-inch diameter steel rope drill line. The traveling block has a tool attached to the bottom, which can be attached to the tubing in the oil well. The traveling block can then travel upwards with the tubing attached, and the entire tubing string will be lifted out of the oil well. The rig crew used the service rig to pull 350 sections, also called joints, of 2.875-inch diameter API tubing with EUE connections on either end. The sections were approximately 20 meters tall as they stood upright in the derrick. They had all 350 joints of tubing standing upwards, being supported by the tubing board which is attached to the derrick of the service rig. They finally found that one joint of tubing had a small hole on the side of it. The rig crew were happy to find the source of the problem. They celebrated by drinking coffee. The rig crew took the single damaged 30-foot-long piece of OCTG tubing and set it aside on boards on THR ground and painted it red so that no one would use it again because it was broken. A mobile crane truck appeared through the mist and delivered a new piece of tubing to replace the broken one. The crane truck driver brought some breakfast bagels, and the rig crew stopped working for a minute to eat the bagel offering from the truck driver. Then the 5-man rig crew screwed each of the 350 joints of tubing back together again, using Foster's brand tubing tongs. The driller of the rig crew stands on the edge of the rig floor where the controls for the drawworks and other accessories for the rig are mounted. The 2 floor hand members of the service rig were on the rig floor applying API-grade OCTG pipe sealant, known as pipe dope, to the tubing before the experienced floor hand uses the Foster's type hydraulic tubing tongs to screw each section of tubing together. The floor hand operating the tongs is focused on making sure the tubing is threading together properly, and they are watching the small torque gauge on the side of the Foster's tubing tongs. They carefully lowered the tubing in the oil well. The leaders of the rig crew were looking at the large weight indicator dial that showed the weight of the tubing. The rig crew then put the oil well Christmas tree back together again, and the job was done. The service rig was then converted to driving mode with the derrick laying horizontally on top of the service rig and the service rig, and the rig crew drove away to search for another oil well to fix.